Let's go to Yellowknife. So I've made it all the way to Yellowknife for the Northwest Territories Agrifood Event or the Northwest Territories Grow Event. And this is an event that brings different stakeholders in the Northwest Territories and around the circumpolar region, such as farmers, growers, food producers, government personnel, researchers, scientists, anyone with an interest in producing, growing, harvesting food in the North. And the reason this event is so interesting and so informative and so crucial is because of all the difficulties that northern food systems face. And this event brings together all these different voices to exchange ideas and brainstorm about what the future of food can look like in these northern environments.
So what we're looking at doing is to co-design and co-develop on a community-by-community basis a solution to that
And the reason I'm here is that I got invited as a former researcher to talk about the importance of soil when thinking about agriculture in the Northwest Territories or in any boreal region in general when thinking about converting boreal forest to agriculture. So even though I'm no longer a researcher studying soil in the boreal forest or the Northwest Territories, I'm always happy to talk about soil, why it matters, and its importance when it comes to carbon, the environment, and producing healthy, sustainable food systems. So while I don't have any footage of me actually giving the presentation, I am going to re-record the presentation here for you now so you can hear all about how agriculture and wildfire impacts soil, and carbon, and nutrients in the boreal forest of the Northwest Territories. So we just wrapped up day 3 of the Northwest Territories Agrifood Event, and I just wanted to share some final thoughts, takeaways, and impressions over how the last 3 days went and kind of how I'm feeling coming out of an event that was pretty inspiring and educational and really thought-provoking. So on day 1, we had a forum where anyone who's a stakeholder in the Northwest Territories or kind of circumpolar agri-food scene kind of introduced themselves and explained why they were there. So there were people from Greenland and Norway and Alaska and the Northwest Territories, then myself from the Toronto area. And it was just really amazing to see how many people are thinking about farming or food production in the North, and how many diverse sets of perspectives and actors there are. And it was just really exciting to see so many people come together with a common theme or a common interest, and that's food production, agriculture, and just building up food security in an environment that's often challenging and unforgiving and just really interesting to work in. So on day 2, it was the main conference day. There was all kinds of different talks from people across the territory, from harvesters to growers to farmers, people working more behind the scenes in the like food distribution side of things, people who have done research looking at the history of fish in the Northwest Territories. And then that's when I got to present my talk on soil as well. And it was just a really great day full of all of these amazing stories and experiences and case studies. And it was really interesting to see how some of the big topics that I've been thinking about, like carbon and soil amendments and soil fertility, have been integrated into these like case study, smaller approaches in the Northwest Territories and beyond, and how a lot of these growers and farmers are thinking about soil and how they can improve their soil and trying all these really crazy and unique different approaches. And I think there's a lot of excitement about innovation and trial and error and experimentation, and there's going to be a lot of exciting research and collaboration that's done moving forward. And that seemed to be really apparent from the different voices that I talked to and the different people that were heard at the conference. And I think I left Friday's session with just a lot of excitement about the novelty and passion that people had for the work they were doing. And then today, on Saturday, we actually had a hackathon. So we were divided into groups, and each group was tasked to come up with a novel idea of how to improve the food system in the Northwest Territories. So there were all kinds of ideas, from making Yellowknife a hub of food and culture and having a culinary contest in Yellowknife, to making northern specific cookbooks, to making kind of repositories of knowledge. There are all these exciting new ideas that could really improve the food security and food scene and the integration of agriculture, food production into the culture of the Northwest Territories. And it was just really great to sit amongst so many people who had so many interesting ideas. And it really showed the power of how bringing all these diverse perspectives together really creates novel and new ideas going forward. So if you enjoyed this look into the evolving Northwest Territories food system and everything that's going into building up food security in the Northwest Territories, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It really does help a lot. And stay tuned for this Thursday when I release an update on the presentation that I gave while I was there, so you can learn more about soil, carbon, wildfire, and everything that makes agriculture exciting in the Northwest Territories. And just before we sign off this video, here's a few photos from a Northern Lights tour I got to go on while I was up in Yellowknife. Catch you all in the next video.